Hello and welcome to the Social Living Podcast. We are back again, episode 13. Yeah, man, I'm your co-host, Julian Green, and my other co-host, Jamal Lawrence, man. Jam, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Got a bit of a cold, so I might sound a bit bunged up on this episode, but yeah, not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. 25th birthday tomorrow, so yeah, just chilling and just waiting for the big day.
Yeah, man, 25, man, big things, big things. You have to put childish things behind you, they say.
I don't know, man. Five years until 30. Crazy.
You shouldn't. I wouldn't look at life that way. Don't wish your life away. 5 years till
No, I'm
30.
not. I'm not,
Just
no, I'm
focus on
definitely not
25.
wishing my life away. I'm definitely not wishing my life away. It's just yeah, mid 20s now. It's scary. I don't know where the last 5 years have gone, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm good though. I'm good. How are you? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm well. I'm probably gonna say this every week. I just need to put more and more pressure on myself to deliver more results, and I'm trying to do that, man. Trying to get out of my comfort zone. I feel right now I'm very much in comfort zone territory, and it's quite scary.
Mm.
Um, so I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and do different things. So yeah, man, I'm working on that. But overall, good week, man. Loads of birthday this month. It's like
Trust
Libra
me.
and Scorpio season.
Yeah.
It's just mental, do you
Every
know?
weekend, I feel like every weekend I'm doing something or sending someone money like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly that.
lot of birthdays, a lot of birthdays.
Literally, and Scorpio season. Do you actually quick one off the cuff? Do you believe in Scorpio, not Scorpio, sorry, star signs and
Star
that?
signs. Not, no, not religiously. Like,
Mm.
I'll check them up on occasion if I think something spiritual's going on.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, not religiously. What about you? I know your mom's quite into it.
Yeah, mum is, yeah.
Mm,
Um, yeah, no, you know what? I am, I'm not gonna say religiously. I'm not religiously like, yo, horoscopes and da da da, but I keep a lot of Libras and a lot of Scorpios around me, and that doesn't seem to be a coincidence. It's just it's just how it is, and I get
mm,
on with those types of people the most. And that's where it made me kind of like follow it a little bit more just because of that, if you know what I mean. Just like it's too much of a coincidence. Like I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
into it, and then everyone that I'm probably closest with are Scorpios or Libras. And then I was like, oh, that's the thing. So, but normally when I meet another Libra, it's just cool. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Or,
instant connection.
yeah, it's like an instant connection, and it also feels like a bit of like an understanding. Um, and then yeah, there's definitely certain star signs I'm like, yo, stay away from me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why, but yeah, I would say yeah, I'm a little bit. I probably don't believe in like horoscopes and stuff like that, but just like how maybe a star sign might make up someone's personality or just
Hmm.
their aura or something like that. Yeah, I feel like yeah, I take a hint of that for sure. But we got a big topic today, man. We've been
Big
planning
one.
this one for a while. Um, yeah, like it's October over here in the UK. Um, and October normally means one thing for every black person, which is it's Black History Month. I know in the US they might have it. I think they have it in February over there. Um, but over here in London, it's every October, and I think definitely growing up, it was definitely more so just a black thing. But now, I think especially with what happened last year with the whole George Floyd situation, I think that um, a lot of more companies and brands have kind of taken it upon themselves to really push something for Black History Month. So this
Mm.
this episode is entitled "Why is Black History Important?" Um, and it kind of leads on to other sub questions as well, like you know, for example, Jam, does Black History mean anything to you? Do you think that we should have a month? Do you think there should be an awareness piece around it?
I definitely like. I think with everything, you kind of need something. You need a topic. You need a talking point. You need a reason to talk about these things. And I know people will say, yeah, but we can celebrate Black culture throughout the year. But sometimes you do need that specific day to celebrate it, or that specific month to celebrate it, just to keep it fresh, to keep it current. And yeah,
Mm,
to just come back to your question, that's definitely it's important. It's
mm,
something we've, especially in the UK and in the US and places that have adopted Black culture and kind of created their own subcultures within the countries. We need to kind of pay homage to it and give back in some sort of way, whether that's through like campaigns, food, music, highlighting your like maybe it's your Black staff that you have your that you work with. Like there's got to be ways to kind of to pinpoint those the talent people have, especially within businesses. Um, but yeah, the importance is definitely there, and it's
yeah.
kind of just keeping that momentum going. Like we saw the I call it the shift. I feel like the topic's always been there and it's always been within people's minds, but when the George Floyd situation happened last year, it was kind of brought to the forefront of people's minds, and we kind of saw a shift in terms of how brands kind of adopt these moments that happens, and normally they would have kind of stayed clear of them. But now, like the pressures on brands, they brand is more than just what they sell now; it's what they stand for. And if you're not standing for like these relevant topics, you can be disregarded so quickly. So yeah, it's important throughout, man.
Mm.
It's important
No,
throughout, and yeah, well, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I agree with you. Like, I just echo everything you just said. I think it is really important that we. I think the key word here is to celebrate like um things that I guess Black culture has brought together, and also it's another way to kind of evangelize. I guess evangelize that Black history is also just history as well,
Hmm.
and sometimes I think that gets lost. You know, because some people might feel like, well, why are we just segregating Black history and it's just about blacks? Like, what about everything else? And really and truly, like Black history doesn't normally get spoken about outside of the awareness month sometimes, and sometimes I think other races might not be aware of certain things, and you get it. Just kind of goes back to Black trauma a little bit. I think when people think of
Yeah,
Black history, I think outside of our own race, I think other races look at it as trauma, and that's what kind of gets taught to us sometimes is the trauma that the race has, you know, been through. And I think that this is the time to actually celebrate the wins as opposed to the
definitely.
losses. Do you know what I mean? So
That's all we're
kind
taught. Like
yeah,
growing up, that is literally all we're taught is Black trauma. Like
yeah,
as young black kids growing up, we're just told that our history is full of negativity and struggle. But
yeah, yeah,
we need to start highlighting the positives and the history we have that is positive. And it's
yeah,
like
100%.
we're more than slavery. Like it's just highlighting that.
Yeah, it's highlighting that we are more than slavery, and like you can say slavery is like a blip in the history. Like that's like history goes on from the beginning of time, and
Mm,
there is a history before slavery as well. And I think that some people are not aware of that, and the way that is taught to a lot of cultures is almost as if like it doesn't really exist, as if like we were just like cavemen or something. And
yeah,
um it definitely isn't that, and we know that, and that needs to be taught. Like the fact that even Black people were here in England before slavery, and they've even I remember seeing like things on the BBC over the last couple of years where they were able to like um use technology to kind of recreate the face of one of the Tudors, or during the people during the Tudor times, and a lot of them were Black as well. And
oh really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, that you can look that one up on the internet for sure. Just type in Black Tudors in the UK, and you'll be surprised. And again, that's something that I was never taught in the UK, like never taught during
Yeah.
my younger years or anything like that. So it's yeah, like it's definitely important to evangelize that and those things, because I think that suddenly might change the perception of black people overall. Not completely. I just think it's a like a component that might help change the perception of black people, you know. So
Mm.
yeah, no, I'm happy we have like a Black History Month. As much as I do want it to be just part of normal history, as opposed to it just being just 1 month. I feel like, yeah, this probably needs to be in the curriculum, even if it's not in the national school curriculum. It is something that can be taught, you know, as an extracurricular activity, whether it's in Saturday schools and things like that. I feel like it's really important, especially if you are someone who is black or, you know, has black ethnicity within them. To be fair, it should be for everyone really, but I think the more, if you are black or from black origin or just part of the diaspora, I should say, I think that you should definitely want to kind of go back to your roots a little bit and just learn a little bit of history, and then things might just become a little bit clearer for you. You might not feel as lost, or you know, you might be feel a little bit more. You might find yourself there, you know. So
Definitely. That's definitely true. Like I'm still waiting to go back to Jamaica because of that. I feel like
mm,
come back a new man.
one
Just
hundred
to be
percent.
connected, yeah, to be connected to where I'm from, seeing family, seeing where my grandparents grew up. It's that aspect a lot of people that have emigrated over to these countries like the UK and the US, they're missing that connection.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
definitely recommend it because I know you've been back a few times, but it's definitely something I'm missing.
yeah, for sure, man. And when you get back to Jamaica, like you know what, like for me, the first time I went back, it was just like, you know, it's like the air's different. It was like,
Mm,
oh my, you know, I felt like my hair was different. Like my hair was, it was like it needed this type of climate. Like
mm,
I felt like my hair was growing faster. I felt like my skin was glowing, you know.
mm,
It's
mm.
just like these different things. But again, that might just be what's in my head because I'm there. But at the same time, it's still it was exactly how I felt.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like definitely try to make it a priority when you can. Obviously, the situation with COVID right now, it is definitely attacking places like Jamaica hard, you know. Um, but yeah, like, I think it's really important to kind of go back to your roots and try and find out, especially when your grandparents are here. I think we take that for granted sometimes. You know, we have to look back, um, talk to our grandparents, ask them what was life like for them. Because obviously we share the same grandmother, and well, we share the same grandparents. Sorry, and
mm,
we know that our view of like maybe Jamaica, Black history is very different to like their view. You know, it's very,
mm.
very different to maybe how we might see this country as opposed to where they see this country. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't do schooling here. They didn't grow up in a system here. And it's very different. You know, obviously they came here for work, they're part of that generation and to build a better life for us. So the country for them is the most amazing thing ever, where we might see it from a different angle. Not to say that this country is not amazing. It is um, really well developed, gives you loads, it provides
Mm.
you with really different opportunities and things like that. But you know, I might not receive the racism. I will definitely not receive the racism that I would have experienced in this country, in my own country. You know what I mean? I would not have had
Definitely,
to
definitely.
maybe summon myself down a little bit. I don't know, you might feel
Hmm.
this, but where, you know, you could probably feel like you could be 100% yourself in
Yeah,
Jamaica. But if you were in this country, you might feel like, you know what, maybe I can't have my hair like this just because I don't want people
yeah,
touching,
yeah.
or I don't want to talk in a certain way just in case I get perceived as aggressive, or do you know what I mean? So
Hundred
uh,
percent, 100%.
these these are all different things I think that some black people, I'm not going to talk for everybody, that they might just feel, on a weekly basis,
Hmm.
our parents as well that testify to, like, 1 minute they can switch up just the poshest English accent, next minute it's,
Yeah,
I mean, patois.
you've seen it growing
um,
up. Yeah, in the
and
houses. Yeah, it's different. The phone voice, I like to call it.
yeah, the phone voice, and you know what? It's something that the next generation after, I feel like they perfected as well. It's just something you're just taught, where you like, if you're not a Caribbean immigrant, African immigrant, it might not be something that you can actually you might not understand why someone has to do that. But when you're part of this culture, you feel like you have to, you're gonna get scrutinized if you had an accent, so you're not gonna talk in that way. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So. Um, and then it kind of gets passed down to us, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to say it's not part of us. It is part of us, but then it's kind of
yeah.
not. You know what I mean? It's like it's a battle between your history and culture and where you are now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
a hard one, man. It's definitely a hard one. But yeah,
definitely,
man.
definitely.
I think we should take a look at some of the activity that we've seen this month from some of the brands that I guess we follow and stuff, and have a look at some of their activity that they've been doing around Black History Month. I don't mind starting off with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
What
yeah.
do you
Kick
think?
off, kick off. We can dive into it.
So recently, I've been watching a lot of football and whatnot, and Sky Sports, they came out with like a series of like, it's just called Heroes, where they asked like a handful of like different black footballers, and they asked them who their great sporting heroes were. And I thought, oh wow, it's amazing because it actually gives like these players a platform to be able to really discuss some of their true like influences and heroes. And obviously they're them being black, not saying that their only heroes are only black, but they're gonna have black heroes. So like Bukayo Saka, he talks about
Hmm.
the influence that Thierry Henry had, whilst he was at Arsenal, and also he was a coach. He was coaching Bukayo Saka at the same time at Arsenal, and it's like, that's a big part of Black history for Bukayo Saka.
Yeah,
Um,
like these
there's
parts are definitely worth celebrating.
yeah, one hundred
Because
percent.
yeah, what would the Premier League be without black players? Like that alone is worth celebrating, and it makes you kind of question. Obviously, you question the racism and stuff like that anyway, but it brings that to the forefront because these players who have been playing for these teams throughout the years, and it's that undertone of racism is still there, even though they've had that one of their favorite players might have been black. For example, Drogba at
Yeah.
Chelsea, and that the kind of racist undertone Chelsea fans
Mm,
have had along the years, like stuff like that. That
mm,
becomes so questionable. But yeah,
yeah.
to go back to your point, I've kind of digressed there.
No, it's all right, man. What you're saying is 100% facts, and Um, I feel like it's what Sky Sports created right there is just a good platform for black players to be able to just highlight their black heroes. Like Paul Pogba did his one. He spoke about Muhammad Ali, with Paul Pogba being Muslim, and Muhammad Ali being Muslim and having to change his name, and things like that, and all the trials and tribulations that Muhammad Ali went through. He was like hands down, no doubt, the biggest, the best, boxer kind of in history. And it wasn't just for the fact that he could box; it was also what he stood for as a man and everything that he went through. He spoke about, political issues that was going on, the kind of hate towards black people in America at the time, and the amount of hatred he was getting from just changing his name from Clash's Clay to Muhammad Ali. It was like such a big deal at the time, and like, it was good to see because you know I didn't think that might resonate with people outside, or like, people who speak English. They don't speak English or grew up in a
Yeah.
different country. Like obviously with Muhammad Ali, United States, England, they all speak English. You thought, okay, cool. But obviously that might be my ignorance. to think that, you know, people in France or even in Africa who might not speak English at all, they also resonate with Muhammad Ali as well. But
Mm.
again,
The
it was
message, the
good,
message is
good to
strong.
see.
Mm.
Yeah, the message is super powerful. There's people like Calvert Lewin from Everton, and he spoke about his dad. His dad was his hero, and that again is so powerful as well because it also puts like black dads in a positive light as well, like with him and his dad and dad being there and taking him to games and always kind of like encouraging him and him being like the proudest person when Calvert Lewin made his debut for England and things like that. Like uh, I feel like what Sky Sports did and just raising that platform, I thought that was like so important, and I think they
Yeah,
did it in the right way.
that's definitely needed. Like that black dad narrative is one that a lot of the black culture are finding it hard to kind of shrug off. That
Mm.
stereotype that the black dad's not around and so on. Like so for Calvert Lewin to kind of highlight and Sky to highlight that is so important.
Yeah, it's big, big. So yeah, man, big up Sky Sports for that one. If you haven't checked that out, I might put it up as actually a recommended watch on YouTube. If you listen to this on YouTube, you'll be able to yeah, just click on the video at the end on the end card, and you'll be able to have a look at some of Sky Sports their hero series. So yeah, man. But what else have you noticed throughout the month?
Oh, you caught me at a wrong time. You might have to
Uh,
jump in quick and do yours.
alright, cool, no worries.
Sorry, 2 secs.
What I saw was Sainsbury's. You know what? I walked into Sainsbury's the other day. So Sainsbury's is a big chain of supermarkets that we have over here in the UK, and they had a lot of like red. I think it's like red, gold, and green colors. So like the colors of like a lot of African flags, the like Rastafari colors, and a lot of like Caribbean countries they have at least two of those three colors, red, gold, or green. I think it's like the green was representing the land, the red representing the blood, and the gold for the I think the gold, I guess it is, and yeah, I saw that around and I didn't really see anything, you know. But then as I was walking down some of the aisles, I realized that, oh, wow, they've got like certain aisles that kind of dedicated to Afro-Caribbean foods. There's a lot of foods being put up. Um, like, you know, I don't want to just be stereotypical, like things like jerk chicken and jerk sauces and
Mm.
stuff like that. But there's a whole wide variety of different types of seasoning, different types of recipes and dishes that you can make. Um, and it just was, you know, at the forefront, and I thought that was quite good. They also do the same thing for like when it comes up to like Diwali or Eid and
Yeah,
things like that. They
shout out
also
to
have,
Sainsbury's because yeah, they're always all over it.
yeah, man, they kill it. Like, but yeah, especially my local Sainsbury's. I guess where we live is very multicultural. So, like, if you lived in a place like, I don't know, Staffordshire or something, I don't know if it's that diverse. But in London, it's very diverse, and the food that they have available is it kind of hits every culture, and they're very much on point when it comes to every culture occasion
Hmm.
throughout the year. So yeah, big shout out to Sainsbury's. But not only that, they also worked with like so I checked it out online and I saw that they were working with like a poet to kind of help bring like a campaign in terms of what what Black history means for them. And I thought that was very, very powerful in itself. So they have like a nice piece on their website um just talking about what Black history means for them, why they're celebrating it, and you know, just kind of bringing in like I guess their perception of Black History Month, but then also talking about how they're trying to improve like African and Caribbean like product offering and just trying to celebrate
Hmm.
food kind of all over, you know, like the fact that Sainsbury's sells like ackee and saltfish, I feel that's such a big jump because if when like our grandparents came to this country, Sainsbury's would not have had ackee and saltfish or
Yeah,
jackfruit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Or that you know what I mean? We have to go to like our own black-owned shops or any Indian shops that have kind of like similar, similar, I guess, seasoning or food types, But the fact
Yeah,
that now it's like readily available and other cultures can also tap into it, I think that's amazing. So they bring to the forefront food, and then also outside of that, they're talking about supporting some of their colleagues as well. So supporting their black colleagues and what their black colleagues want for Black history. So that could be exploring black-owned businesses, allowing more black-owned businesses to be represented within Sainsbury's, black-owned sauces, black-owned seasoning, and whatever it might be, black-owned hair products. This is a supermarket we're talking about. They have such a huge variety of different products. So the fact that Sainsbury's have kind of made it a thing to try and support black people, so black businesses, celebrate black hair, just celebrating the black community. I just think it's a great deal. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's also an important move to hear that they've listened to their colleagues as well, listening to their black colleagues. Sometimes
Mm,
that can be missed. I know
mm,
a lot of companies will have a diversity team, which will be mainly white people just because of who works there. And
yeah.
they kind of don't, they might not bring their black colleagues in when it comes to these type of topics. So
Yeah.
listening to your staff and allowing them to have a say on topics they feel passionate about will come through in the work they do. So it's no surprise that Sainsbury's have kind of aced what they're doing because they've got that team behind them that can lead the way.
100%. And for me as well, like especially in London, I can't talk about outside of London, but like it's so diverse. Like it's so like they Sainsbury's just seem to be very diverse. On a I guess not so much maybe on a senior level, I don't know, I'm not sure. But people that's on the ground is definitely very diverse, and a lot of
Mm,
people I know Sainsbury's gave them their first job, So
yeah,
yeah, like big shout out to Sainsbury's and what they're doing is it's a good look. I feel like this campaign's worked well, and they've chosen the right. I think they've just gone it about it in the right way, you know.
definitely, definitely.
So yeah, man. Go on, your turn.
Cool. Yeah, I had a little blip. Yeah, Elias just woke up, so
Oh,
yeah, parenthood. But yeah, we're back. We're back at it. We're back at it. So yeah, so one on my list, I was doing some research on it actually, just having a look around. And first place I looked was music and seeing how music culture is massive over here in UK as it is in the US, and we take a lot from the culture. Like the UK take a lot from the culture in terms of music. And you have the likes of BBC who have created BBC One Extra because of black culture. We have Capital who create Capital Extra because of black culture. And it's always interesting to see what those type of radio stations do to celebrate Black History Month. So I was looking at Capital Extra and they've done mini series throughout the month around, so it's video series with artists when they're interviewing actors or actresses, just asking them what their black inspirations are. So it's good to get insight of like people within the culture that have credibility, just to hear like kind of similar to the Sky Sports situation, similar concept, just to get their take on who inspired them and who kind of helped them get them to where they are. Which is always good to see. And another like side note to what doing there was that they got a Carla to come and speak about Black history and kind of educate listeners about Black history, which I think is massively important because that education piece is often missed. That celebrating the culture is great, but we also have a responsibility to educate people and kind of change that perception, as we said before. So getting people that are credible, that are like unapologetically black, who Akala is. I couldn't think of a better person to pick. Like if you wanted to pick someone that's relevant and is as knowledgeable as Akala, I don't think you could pick anyone else. Akala is like the right choice, and they
yeah,
definitely
man.
got that spot on there.
You have to give Akala his flowers as well, man. He's such an activist. Like he's such a like really well spoken person as well, really highly respected as well. And again, if you don't know who Akala is, if you're like from overseas or whatever, I'm not sure if he's known like across the waters, but he, definitely go out and check out some of his content, some of his speeches he's done at like Oxford and Cambridge, and Some he's got some big interviews that he's done as well, and even like debates. I've seen him, do political debates and taking down like the EDL, which is like the English
Yeah,
Defence.
I've seen him shut down some guys like by himself as well. Like, yeah, it's so good to see. It's such a good look. And
And
like I
I
said, it's
just like the fact that
unapologetic.
he does it. He does it in a very intelligent and intellectual
Yeah,
way. I think
mm,
that's amazing.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, again, yeah, flowers to Okala. But yeah, it was good, just good from Capital Extra for choosing him and allowing him to voice his knowledge towards the listeners.
mm,
But
yeah,
yeah, okay, I'll go on to my next one just so I can catch up on it. We're two up. So
yeah.
again, I was scrolling through my own Instagram and I follow a chef called Miss Joyce, who is I call her a celebrity chef. She does a lot of influencer work as well. And she was invited down to Disney and Monzo to do a cook along with their UK head offices, which was again, it was good to see. It wasn't publicized by Disney, but Monzo tweeted about it. Um,
Okay.
but that it's a different approach compared to the rest of the brands we spoke about. Because a lot of the brands have gone out with outward messages, so external communications around Black History Month, but we kind of
Mm,
don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So it's good to
mm,
kind of see the Miss Joyce talk about that and do like behind the scenes of the cook along at these massive corporations. Um, because yeah, sometimes you kind of miss what goes on behind the scenes, and it's you might on the outside looking in, it might look like they're not celebrating Black culture for Black History Month, but within the business, it's definitely being celebrated,
yeah.
which is kind of a similar approach that we've taken at Superdry. We didn't feel comfortable to talk about Black history externally, so a lot of the celebration educational pieces have been internal comms, which is still as important because we kind of you sometimes it's I feel like pressure is on brands at the moment to have something to say and to enter the conversation with a campaign or jump on something in some way. But sometimes you kind of have to sit back and say maybe we're not the right brand to jump on this right now. We've not kind of got our eggs in a row in terms of diversity within the company, but we've acknowledged that we're working on it and we want to show what we're working on externally, internally, sorry, and kind of celebrate it that way. So yeah, big props to Monzo and Disney because they've celebrated it in a different way and they've not been allowed boisterous. It's not been allowed a boisterous campaign, but it's still equally as effective.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of pressure. If you are going to do it externally, I think there's a lot of pressure on getting that right, being as sensitive as you can. Because I don't want to like highlight any like businesses that are doing it wrong, but there are definitely businesses out there that might just use a tag or like create a little logo or design just saying, okay, yeah, Black History, celebrating Black History Month or something like that. And there's nothing
Yeah.
behind it. There's no
hmm
diversity in their workplace. It's just something that they feel like they might be ticking a box. And
Definitely.
then they might say they're donating to a certain cause and things like that. And like I'm not saying don't donate to these causes, but you got to make sure that you know who you're donating to and like you got to vet some of these
hmm
whether it's GoFundMe pages or organizations, because a lot of these people just pocket it just because they're opportunists, and they
hmm
just know that you know what we're gonna make the most out of this right now, and right now this is a talking topic, and we're gonna put out our charity link or whatever it is, and we're gonna pocket all of this. It's gonna go to me. So we have to basically ensure that we are having the right conversations. And if your company's not ready to kind of go out and say something, you don't feel educated enough, you don't have enough black colleagues or a diversity enough, or not you're not diverse enough to be able to articulate something in the right way, definitely just try and do it internally and try and just maybe just educate yourself on that first. I personally don't think every brand really needs to go out there and say, look, it's Black History Month, this is what we're doing, unless you can get
hmm
it right. And yeah, I think that yeah, I was gonna ask that question earlier, but we've just kind of answered it before we even asked it. So yeah, like if you are a brand, I think you got to look at it in a way of you know, like, am I really educated enough to be able to do this? So yeah, we've got a couple questions coming in. I don't know if Jam's gonna.
Let's put them. I'll start off with I think it's Cassie X Flames. Cassie K Flames, sorry. So I'll just play that now.
Hi Jules, hi Jamal. I just want to say Black History Month is not important at all. In fact, we shouldn't even be celebrating it because at the end of the day, um, you as a black person it should be Black History every day, not a month, 365 days of the year. So that's what I'm saying. So it's not important. They've just kind of given us this month to kind of appease us. Like, oh, yeah, Black History Month. Where's White History Month? Okay, yeah, it's White History all of the year. However, do you know what I mean? They 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 feel like if they give us Black History Month, they only have to like teach us shit and celebrate shit on that month. So no, I don't agree with Black History Month. I don't celebrate it. Fuck Black History Month. It's Black History 360.
What do you reckon, Jam?
Ooh. Nah, yeah. So First of all, thanks for the like this statement there. Like, appreciate it. But might go against you there. I might go against you there, Cassie. Like, I agree with you when you said that we need to celebrate Black history throughout the year, which is definitely important. Um, but I still kind of think we need that moment to have that big push and get people involved. Otherwise, it can go missed and it might not be celebrated as much. So yeah, I kind of get your point, but yeah, I still think that we also have a responsibility to educate ourselves and not be as reliant to be educated by other people. So I know you mentioned being taught maybe this is a month where we're all taught something about Black history, but we kind of have to take the accountability into our own hands and make sure we as Black people can celebrate Black history throughout the year rather than just 1 month.
You know what,
But
Jam?
yeah, what?
I'm gonna add to that one as well because yeah, no, thanks again for the comment and the engagement. We really, really appreciate it. And we agree with you in certain aspects. Like we 100% think that Black history is. I'm not gonna say it's not, but it definitely is. It's well, it is part of history. So that is something that's there 365 days a year. And especially when you're not living in like a black country, like it's not just majority, you're a minority here. For us to have an awareness piece and us being a minority, I think that's such a big thing. We need to be able to kind of come together and celebrate this and us come together as one and be able to celebrate not our traumas, our wins. And I think that's really, really, really important. So that kind of the seconds what you were saying, Jam, it's like we're gonna take the month, because I would rather have the months and not have anything, and then we can work around it being really entwined with the history that you might have in whatever country that you're in, because the likelihood is that we've left our motherlands to kind of go to these other built up countries for better lives or whatever, and now we're kind of asking them to celebrate us every single day. I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
take the
Mm.
month, and you celebrate. Yeah. What more questions? Let's dive into them, man.
Yeah, well, so I'll play Chris's now. Chris's first one.
Hey guys, I like the topic you guys have. Why is Black History Month important? Um, I, my parents come from Panama, and I'm a first generation American over here. And trust me, if I didn't have like things on the calendar like Black History Month or Black Friends or all of that, I wouldn't really know about my own heritage and how people see me in America. So Black History Month for me is a marker like a moment in time for me to really explore more of who I am. So that's why it's important to me.
I love that. I actually love that.
Yeah.
You
Shout
know
out
what?
to you, Chris.
Yeah, shout out to you, Chris, man. I love Panama as well. I haven't been there, but it's on my list. It's on my list to get out to Panama. So yeah, big shout out to you. And I got like a story kind of like so I lived in Spain for a year and I didn't necessarily experience a lot of racism there, but what I saw was the system that was not helpful for black people there. And when I was living in Spain, I was trying to find accommodation. I made it a rule of thumb to try and live in a community where there was a lot more black people. And ironically, I ended up kind of living with a lot of people from Dominican Republic in an area where there was like Dominican Republic, again, island in the Caribbean where the majority speak Spanish, and a lot. I guess there was a big like community of Dominicans in Spain. And when I was living in Madrid, I just got on with them. I just realized, like, you know what? Like, I don't want to say, yeah, black people around the world are all the same, but it just felt like my community. Do you know what I mean? But it was just a
Mm,
different language,
mm,
and it felt so good. Yeah. And then, fast forward in a couple of years, I'm back in England and whatever, and I met a Dominican, and you see a lot of Dominicans who kind of they move from like Dominican Republic to Spain, then they become like they might be first generation Spanish, and then there was that period where a lot of Spanish people, Italians or whatever, they started moving over to the UK because of the like us being in Europe and things like that, right? Being part of the EU. And I met with a Dominican who came fresh from Spain, and he was telling me about wow, like the black people, the way they live in the UK is nothing like how they live in Spain. And I was like, yeah, I know, like I get it. But he was like, he didn't learn about Black history until he came to the UK. So where he's learning about like some of the greats like Muhammad Ali or Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and just other kind of big black figures, dead or alive. That was his connection to being black. Because before that, he knew he was black, but in terms of the way race is spoken about, maybe in Latino or Spanish culture, it was very different to how it's like celebrated in like UK culture. And I just thought that was really, really like powerful because he felt he felt more connected just because he had gone backwards a little bit. And I think that's just so
mhm.
powerful, man. So yeah, big shout out to you. What was his name? Chris. Big shout out to you.
Chris, yeah.
I
Yeah,
proper
he's got a
relate to
couple
you.
mil.
Hit me, hit
He's
me,
got
hit me.
yeah, so I'll hit you with the next one.
In regards to the accountability, I would have never developed the idea of being able to take accountability for researching if I didn't even know the topic existed. And so that's what it's done for me. Like it's brought up the topic into my mind and has made a checkpoint for me to continue down the path of exploring more of it. So it's an important marker to me. It's an important marker for all kids of all generations because that is their introduction. You know what I mean? It's their possible introduction if they didn't have any other types of introduction into finding more about themselves, finding more about their history. Um, so yeah, it's important for that reason. It's important because it's a checkpoint, and it allows people to eventually take accountability and learn more for themselves. So yeah, I'm just preaching how important it is.
Yeah, he's hit the nail on the head there because, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, we were just like, it's not just for um other races to kind of learn about Black history, it's also for ourselves as well. And if we don't have any kind of awareness around it, like let's say you're Black and you like grew up in like a white kind of community, you might not know, and it's exactly what Chris is saying that you might not know that this topic even existed until you do. Then you can feel a little bit more connected. But before that, you might not have that connection. And Black history is another way to reconnect to your ancestry, your history, current history, things like that. So yeah, super powerful, man.
And that's Chris speaking as a black man, as a black person, like let alone the other races and other cultures that aren't that Black history doesn't come into their head naturally. So having this month, which is recognized throughout the country, throughout the US in February or March, whenever it is, this helps people enter that headspace, like Chris has said, and kind of allow them to do their own research because without that, it might not enter their head.
Yeah, agreed. Is there another question there?
Yeah, I'll just play it now.
So another thing that I think Black History Month and anything Black helps with is that, especially living in America, uh, a lot of the views and narratives of how a Black person is painted by the victors, painted by the European Americans, and so in our TV and our music and all that, it isn't always the most supportive view towards Black folks, and so we take that on. We look at ourselves in the mirror. We have those same narratives in our head, but just some, like, when people start to learn how to love themselves in the mirror, they start to look at other people in that same love, and so that person can now look at themselves in the mirror with that same love, those same words, those same narratives. And again, like Black History Month is a marker where we can all reflect and look at ourselves and cultivate that love and express it out.
Yeah, man, he's talking some real facts there.
Facts, yeah,
Talking,
real facts.
talking some real
I
facts
like
there.
mm,
Okay?
I like the point about looking in the mirror and loving yourself because especially amongst young Black boys, that's not always there. I feel like, especially growing up, young Black boys had animosity against other young Black boys for no reason at all. It's like there was like hatred there for whatever reason. Like we've grown to maybe hate ourselves as like time has developed, but our parents' generation, that was completely different. Like my dad would say he used to walk the street and say hello to like any Black man that he came across, any Black person he came across. But that's not there within our generation, especially growing up. It's that I don't know what it is, but that animosity was there. So yeah, definitely looking in the mirror and learning to love ourselves is important within a culture. And it's definitely something that I'll pass down to Elias, and I'm sure you will with Killian as well. But yeah, really like that point there, Chris. Like just nailed it on the head.
Yeah, and like even to just kind of go a little bit deeper into that as well, because you might want to understand, oh, why is that? Why is it that there is animosity? Like what could be causing that? And like what Chris said is sometimes the narrative of ourselves is not even written by ourselves. It's like it's the way a country can make you feel, the way the country will make other people look at you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I see like especially like growing up in London, I'm sure it was the same for you as well, Jam, but like you knew that like, okay, if you're wearing a really nice watch, for example, and like let's say a white person was looking at your watch, that he's admiring your watch. But then if a
Hmm.
black person was looking at your watch, you might feel, oh, he's like trying to take my watch or something like. Do you know what I mean? And that
Definitely,
that
definitely.
foundation or that perception that they have there is so damaging, you know. Because then now
Hmm.
you got to be able to maneuver like through that, you know. So it's like you're already having a negative perception of your own people, and
Hmm.
that's never gonna yield good things. Do you know what I mean? So
Definitely, definitely.
we have to always try and come together, celebrate each other, love ourselves, because we are kind of taught it to a certain extent not to love ourselves. Whether it's like I was saying earlier in the podcast, like if you're in Jamaica, you rock your hair the way your hair is supposed to be rocked, like the way it's supposed to grow or whatever. But
Hmm.
if you're here, you're in the UK, you need to get a professional job. There's a stigma around maybe how you might have your hair, and then there's also the effect. that it might have just because of how you're going to be treated. And that that alone will make you just feel like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep my hair short just because I don't want any trouble, or this
Of
will help me.
course, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And that's not fair. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. You're
Because
kind of watering yourself down to
yeah,
kind of fit in, which
yeah,
is yeah, like you said, it's damaging.
yeah, it's damaging. And some people might say, you know what, like we might not be able to, like other races might not be able to really connect with that or understand. Yeah, but Jam, you could just grow your hair out. We love it. But then
Mm,
you're getting that. Do you know what I mean? Like
mm,
that's not how it should feel. Like you shouldn't feel, oh, like why is he talking to me like this way? Because of my hair's like this or whatever. Why do you want to touch my
yeah,
hair? I don't want to touch your hair. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Oh, it's so bouncy. I don't. Do you know what I mean? Like just little things like that, and um, those are all kind of like subtle, like hints of like ignorance and undertoning racism. That it's not, again, it's not like it's not malicious. It's just an undertone of a lack of education or something, you know?
yeah. Definitely. It's that sometimes it's that yeah, that unconscious bias people might not have. They might see a certain haircut and relate it to maybe something they've seen on the TV. I know Chris actually mentioned it, how the influence of music and European TV, American TV kind of affects people's unconscious bias. They might see the way a black man dresses on the TV or through a music video and kind of think that is that's the way every black man dresses, or that's the same personality every black man carries. So it's that bias that definitely needs changing, but it's just an educational piece. And like as we expand and move to different cultures and move into different workplaces, we'll be able to educate, and more people will be able to see what we're really like, and we'll just be able to connect with more people that we've never been able to connect with us before.
100%, man. Well put, man. Well put. Did you have your last, I guess your last company who like
Yeah, so my last one was actually from TikTok, and I've seen them. They've done a lot around this. It was their This Is Black campaign, which is been like their main social activation for the month, and they've had a billboard campaign across I think it might be across London, and it was just to like highlight black culture through education, food, entertainment, and music really, just to kind of celebrate the people, the creators they have on TikTok that have kind of got TikTok to where it is, and giving TikTok that energy and that buzz that they've recognized has come from black culture, which is great to see. They've given back, and they've given back wow in terms of putting a lot of their black creators on a pedestal for the month, and kind of highlighting the ones that have kind of excelled. And for example, there's a guy I follow called Grub Kitchen on Instagram who is got a massive following on TikTok, and they've done a massive push with him, and they've done like TikTok lives, um, TikTok small video campaigns throughout the month just to kind of give his platform that push it needs. Because sometimes, like I know a lot of black people say this, and some people take it the wrong way, but we kind of have we start off a step back when it comes to like progression and trying to build brands and build that community. So to be able to have that push and that leverage from a brand like TikTok can help massively. So yeah, it's great to see them support black culture in that way and like use their platform to kind of elevate the talent they have on there.
yeah, nice big move, man. Big move, like big shout out to TikTok for that. Because I feel you know what, this is kind of like a little bit astray, but it's I saw like an article piece about Facebook whistleblowers, and there was one thing they mentioned on there where it was about race. It was I think the algorithm is I don't want to say it's specifically designed, but it has been set up to kind of show less, I guess, ethnic minority content to white people. So white people mainly will see content from white content creators. as opposed to
Hmm.
black content creators, which is a bit mad. Like when you hear that,
Hmm.
because you feel like, you know what, we should all be on a same level field. It's just based on like engagement. But when the algorithm is already set up there, again, whether this is true or not, I don't know. But you know that like black culture is very, let's say, addictive, cool. I feel like a lot of things kind of get started, whether it's like dances, music, a lot of these TikTok trends, like a lot of them, come from like even just hip hop alone, right? With that being black orientated. And then, every other culture will jump on it. Do you know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
if like the culture that benefits from that the most is just white people, that's mad.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like the originators of the art. But again, that happens in a lot of things, and that's probably another topic that we can discuss another day. But just the fact that what you mentioned about TikTok and they're putting their black content creators kind of on a pedestal for the month, just to highlight, their talents. I think that's yeah, it's really good, really powerful, and
Yeah, definitely.
it's amazing, man. It's good. It's good stuff. I guess on to my final one. My final one is Barclays. So Barclays being a bank, I don't know if they're world round, if they're world renowned, but yeah, Barclays bank over here in the UK, or in Europe anyway, and they did a piece. I don't know, I might have sent it to you actually, but they did a piece on Ian Wright, and that's what kind of made me aware of some of their Black History activity, and
Hmm.
I thought it was amazing. So they got Ian Wright and his son Sean Wright Phillips. Obviously, they're both professional footballers in the Premier League. Ian Wright playing for England as well as Arsenal, and Sean Wright Phillips, who played for Manchester City, played for Chelsea, and he played for England as well. That being his most notable teams, and they were both in the car heading to watch Sean Wright Phillips' son play football, who plays for Stoke.
Yeah, I did see this. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a nice video. Yeah, it's a real nice clip to see.
it was so nice to see. It was just amazing. It was so
Mm.
good. Like, and they went to go watch. So Ian Wright being the granddad in the situation, and Sean Wright Phillips being the dad, both going to see the son and the grandson training for Stoke, and then afterwards they have like a conversation about like football, between each of their times. Like Ian Wright talking about when what he was doing when he was playing football and his mindset, and then Sean Wright Phillips talking about how it has slightly evolved, and his dad watching him and his dad being more excited than he was when he got into the England squad and things like that, and
Mm.
then having the young one who's not even a professional footballer just yet. He's playing like under 21s, and he's trying to um trying to follow in the footsteps of his dad and his granddad, which is almost a lot, such a lot, is a big pressure on him, isn't it? But
Yeah, man.
it was good to see, like, it was just, three generations of black footballers, and like Ian Wright must feel so proud that his grandson's at a football club in the like the top two divisions of the country or whatever, and um, he's really trying to make it. And they talking about the different styles where they play football, and Ian Wright's grandson does like backflips and stuff when he scores a goal, and Ian Wright being obviously the granddad, like, why would you do that? You're gonna break your neck. Don't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's just typical,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
But it was just, again, it was just a positive, successful story that could be celebrated, and I thought that was, again, it brings the perception of a black family is now different. It's not
Hmm.
just something negative. It's now put them in a positive light, and I hope that continues throughout. Like, if more businesses and more people in the media could do that, you just know there would be more harmony towards us as a race. And I think
Hmm.
that's kind of what we want. But not only did they drop that video, they also dropped they did like an article piece where they they spoke to their employees. I think they did like a handful of employees. I think it was about 20, and they interviewed them, and they asked them to say what one word represents Black History Month for you. And it was very interesting. Like loads of different words were coming out around, Black History Month. For them, it was like celebration or beauty or power and just, different things like that. And it was good to see like all the different Black people that they had in all these different positions,
Mhm.
senior positions, and it just kind of showed how diverse, just from just Black people, it just showed how diverse their organization is. And yeah,
I
it's a
like
big,
that. I like that. 'Cause that's
big
such a
shout
simple thing to do,
out. Yeah,
and it's
big
and
shout
it's
out to
and it's
them.
powerful. Like you said, it shows how diverse they are without kind of doing a big song and dance about it. Like it's just a simple one word, what it means to each of the staff members, and you get to see how represented they are within the business. Now, I like that. I actually do like that.
Yeah, it is.
I like that idea. Yeah.
It's massive, and again, these are different things that people can use. Like this is, and a lot of people is like Black History Month to me means power, and he got like pictures of them as well of each of the staff members, and he did like a whole like shoot. It's like representation, empowerment. I think I said that already. Legacy, challenging. These are all. This is what Black History Month means to them. And again, it just highlights how important it is amongst the amongst Black people, amongst the Black, diaspora. So
Mm,
no, it's good to see, man. It's good to see. I think this has been an amazing podcast episode, to be honest, and hopefully it helps others kind of engaging with Black history as opposed to just, oh, we're just going to be talking about slavery and maybe like
exactly.
dead idols as well. I think that's another thing that, again, it's like trauma. It's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, Malcolm X was amazing, but that was of that time, and he died. Martin Luther King, he was part of that time, and he like assassinated. So it's
Hmm.
like, even if you wanted to make change, you might feel like, you know what, my life might, they might take my life. So yeah, that's not what you want. Um, you don't want that feeling. So you want today's day and age heroes. That doesn't nullify Malcolm X. It doesn't nullify Martin Luther King, but there are other activists that we have today that also can be celebrated, and other people in higher positions that are also trying to make a change for their people for the better. And obviously, Malcolm X had such a big change on the world, and so did Martin Luther King, 100%. And we're still waiting to see kind of like the next ones who are going to do just that. You have
Hmm.
Louis Farrakhan uh, from like the US, I'll say. Um, he's like from like the Muslims over there, like the Black Muslims over in the US, and he's done a lot as well. And we just want to see our heroes stay alive, and that's the main thing
Hmm.
that needs to be
And I
celebrated.
think, yeah, also seeing, like, I know you mentioned about having those icons that have kind of paved the way, but we're starting to see that in a different light now with through success now and through people being in positions of power, like with the likes of Jay-Z, Rihanna, Kanye West, like off the top of my head, that have gone and become like billionaires, which is which for me was unheard of. Black billionaires growing up, I didn't know that was a thing. So
Yeah,
to see that now,
you didn't think it
it
was
makes,
even possible.
yeah, to see that now, man, it's great to see, and it makes it more achievable. Like it makes you want to aspire for more, because before we might have thought like we might have had a ceiling, we might have had a limit to what we can achieve, but yeah, these guys have gone out and done it within a 20-year career, which is like insane. So now again, there's so many positive stories to tell, and yeah, we just got to keep that momentum going, because we're making progress. Like some people might not think it with what they see on the news, but progress is definitely being made, and it's kind of just keeping that momentum going, because that like the change is coming, and that change will come.
100%, 100%, man. Well put, well put. I think that was think that's us, you know. I think that we've had such a great conversation here. Thank you to everyone who's engaged with the podcast today. Yeah, man, we're gonna hear from more of you as well. So every Wednesday, 8 p.m., between 8 p.m. and 8:30, family depending. uh, we will definitely be here, man, and we want to hear more of your questions and just diving into the conversation with us as we try to uncover some of the things that we see from a marketing perspective. I know we're very much a social media focused podcast, but social media is also social aspects of the world as well, and this is one of them. And that's why we had to kind of bring this to the light. With us being Black content creators as well, we celebrate Black History Month, and it was only right for us to dedicate an episode to all of you guys in celebration of our history and who we are. We're not afraid to celebrate us, and we're very proud of being Black, and we wouldn't want it any other way. So I think that we just want to make sure that's known for sure. I don't know, Jam, if you want to add anything more to that, but yeah, man,
Nah, yeah, it's well put. It's well put.
yeah. All right, good stuff,
Mm.
good stuff. All right, guys, you can tune in to this episode on YouTube, Spotify, RSS.com, Apple Music, all listening platforms. I'm just going to say that. And until the next time, we are out.